Good afternoon. I am excited to call today's policy meeting to order. We will begin this with a special treat. I would like to ask the Girl Scouts of Troop 7387 to come forward to the microphone. This troop is a troop based in Phoenix with residents primarily attending the Madison School District, but doing work particularly in Council Districts 3, 5, and 6. And they've been focusing on citizenship and learning how to be involved in their community. To this end, they are using funds raised through the 2019 Girl Scout cookie sales to plant a tree in North Central Phoenix. And with that, we have asked them to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You did an excellent job and represented the city of Phoenix very well. I think that's my favorite Pledge of Allegiance we've had during my time as mayor. So thank you for your service. We have a great meeting ahead today, including information on our libraries and our census, but we will begin with council member updates. Do any council members have requests for information or updates? Councilwoman Pastor.
Thank you, Mayor. Today, I would like to highlight several city employees for recent recognition that they have received. First, the Parks and Recreation staff were recently honored with 3 awards by the Arizona Parks and Recreation Association. These awards included the Outstanding Program Award for the Phoenix Teens Initiative, the Partnership Award for the relationship with the Arizona Center for Nature and Conservation to operate at South Mountain Environmental Education Center, and the Volunteer of the Year Award for the park steward Beth Coyne. I don't think I'm saying it right, but Beth, I could give you a shout out. And then the Human Service Director, Marshall Franklin, was awarded the Next Gen Public Service Silent Hero Award on July 26th in Washington, D.C. This award recognized Marshall as a public servant who has operated behind the scenes in a dedicated fashion and impacted positive change in our community. Marshall was also recently named as a finalist for the Greater Phoenix Chamber's Athena Awards. Looking forward to that, Marshall. Our communication office also recently received 2 national awards from the City County Communications and Marketing Association, including 2nd place in the category of social media best campaign use for the Phoenix Summer Safety Campaign, 3rd place in the category of digital interactive issue-specific website for the public education campaign that created the Arena Information website. And then I also want to honor the Water Department, Tony Colon and his crew, for retrieving 94-year-old Salvador Leon's World War II veteran original military ID tags that recently ended up in the sewer line. So I really appreciate them doing that. He was very excited for that. And finally, I want to recognize the Phoenix Police Department and the Reserve Division will receive a national 2019 IACP Body Worn by Utility Leadership and Volunteer Police Service Programs Award at the upcoming 2019 International Association of Chiefs of Police Conference. The award recognizes volunteer organizations and programs that demonstrate innovative, effective practices for augmenting sworn or civilian staff and/or improving service delivery in their communities. I want to say that September 15th marks Hispanic Heritage Month. As you've seen, I'm wearing a very colorful dress, and I want to give a shout out to Cici Velasquez and Stephanie Vasquez for their Mujeres Mercado that was hosted this weekend, and they bring local Hispanic vendors together to highlight their products. Finally, I would like to recognize an exceptional work of our Phoenix Police communication operators, radio, and 911 dispatchers. We rely on our 911 operators and dispatchers to be the first public safety professionals the community encounters during emergency and other traumatic events. During these situations when our community needs them the most, our 911 operators and dispatchers remain calm, professional, and able to make quick decisions that often save lives. This is why 911 operators and dispatchers are considered the thin gold line for their service during crisis. However, serving in this capacity can result in severe additional stress that negatively impacts our staff's well-being. In the light of this, I have requested our city manager to review staffing levels, emotional support services for those employees who serve in the area of trauma response. This review will ensure our residents and employees can continue to expect to receive the highest level of care. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Additional updates, Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councilwoman Pastor, for noting all the great things we do.
Trying.
Quite a list, and I echo your comments on Marshall Franklin. I've known her for many years, really proud to know her, and she is just a great example of our city employees. And I also want to thank the Girl Scouts here. You're actually brownies, right? I got it right? Got it. I was a brownie and a Girl Scout, and you guys are doing a terrific job, and you did a great job today. Thank you for being here. I just wanted to mention that I'm having my coffee chat next Tuesday, September 17th at 8 a.m. at Aioli Burger on 32nd Street. And Alan Stevenson is going to be our guest speaker, and we're going to talk a little bit about short-term rental vacations and how they impact our communities and our homeowners. So it should be an interesting discussion. Thank you.
Councilman DeCiccio.
Thank you, Mayor, and I want to thank everybody, especially the Girl Scouts, for coming out. I think most of you might be in my district, and you're soon going to be my boss. When you're 18, you'll be my boss, just like your mom and dad are. A couple of quick things. One, I mentioned this at the last meeting that we were at, dealing with consolidating of elections for initiatives. If we could just take a look at that and waiting to see what we can do, or do we have to go to the voters on that? But I think we can do that internally, where anything that's an initiative can be brought to the full ballot for individuals to vote on general elections, which would be in November, which we could wait 2 years. But we might have to do a charter change on that, only because of the time frame. Right now, it's at the next available election. I believe we would probably have to do that. I'd be open to it. I'm definitely in the minority up here on the council, but it's something I think we could work together and try to find a way to make it work if people are wanting to do that. If not, I'm good with that too. I mean, it is what it is. I've tried enough times at it. The second thing deals with, we saw this in one of our meetings, and I just don't know how to solve it or how to even come up with an idea until we figure out what the problem is too. We're dealing with the mental illness, and I know there's something big on the mayor's plate. She's talked about it repeatedly on it and how we could work on this, and she's come up with some really good ideas of how to do that in the city of Phoenix. I'd like to get more to the foundation of what's causing this. I mean, why are we seeing such an uptick in this? It seems like more and more we're dealing with it, whether it's suicides, whether it's drugs. It's and it's a combination of things. But what is really the foundation behind what we're starting to see in the city of Phoenix? And it's across the country, it's not just here. There's something deeper that's going on. And before it goes too far, I'd like to at least get an idea. I know we're not equipped to know this, but maybe we can bring in and talk to somebody who does know, or at least get an idea. It doesn't have to be one-sided. I'd like to get multiple ideas. But there's something happening out there that's creating this problem, this anxiety for individuals, and it could be a lack of medication, it could be a lot of other things, but there's something more fundamental happening that I'd like to at least get an idea, if we can do it. If we can't, I get it, because it's not in our wheelhouse, but we're going to be addressing it one way or the other, you know. I feel sad for the families in particular that are out there that have to deal with this on a daily basis. I don't think any of us really understand what's going on with a lot of those families, but there's got to be something more fundamental. I don't know if there's anything we can do, but at least I'd like to know what it is that we're going to be looking at. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And we have just applied to Bloomberg Philanthropies for a grant to help us look at some of the mental health and behavioral health challenges. So completely agree that is an area that is worthy of more attention, and thank you for. Councilman Nowakowski.
Thank you, Mayor. There's some exciting things happening in District 7. First, I want to thank the Phoenix Suns Charity, who generously agreed to sponsor the inclusive after-school recreation program at Cesar Chavez High School. And I really want to thank all the parents and all the community leaders that came out to our budget hearings and educated us about the programs that we should be having out there in the city of Phoenix. Also, I'd like to thank the Fiesta Bowl Committee for donating $2 million with sponsorship for our new playground at Margaret Hans Park. This is really going to kick off the revitalization of Margaret Hans Park in downtown Phoenix. And thank you for the Fiesta Bowl Committee for allowing the playground to be at Margaret Hans Park. Also, this Thursday, we're unveiling the design and the drawings for the Cesar Chavez Community Center out there at Cesar Chavez Park. And once again, this has been something that the community's been asking for over 10 years, and finally, all that strong advocating and pushing for it, we finally got it done, and the drawings are complete. So we want the people, the community to come out and look at these great drawings and comment on them. And I really want to thank Esther Avila and all the people that were on the steering committee that made this possible. Remember, it's this Thursday, September 12th, sorry about that, at 6 p.m. Also, last week, we had a new traffic signal activated right on 39th Avenue and Southern. This was an intersection where two individuals lost their lives, and the community came together with our streets department and our office, and we talked about the needs of that area. And after all those meetings, we were able to move up the process of putting in a street light and also other street improvements in that area. So thank you all for coming out and telling us your concerns. And thank you to the Streets Department for making this all happen. And lastly, I'm excited to remind everyone that Monday, if you're downtown Phoenix and District 8 and District 7 area, we're going to be having these e-scooters. You're going to start seeing scooters all in the downtown area. It's a pilot program for 6 months. For the first 3 months, we're going to evaluate it, and we want to hear your input. But it's a great project. People are excited, and we want people to get educated before you jump on a scooter. So we created a little Phoenix 2020 information piece that should be coming out early next week, and watch it, learn about scooters, how to actually identify where the scooters are, how to put them on, and that's really important to wear the helmets, right? So thank you all that were involved with bringing the e-scooters to the downtown area, and hopefully we have a great experience with them. And I forgot one other thing. Tomorrow at 6:50 in the morning, if you're up at that time and you happen to be right around the 202 and Baseline Road, we have a new grocery store coming up. So, I want to thank everybody for pushing the 202 freeway and making all these new amenities in that area possible. It's going to really liven up South Phoenix. Hopefully, we'll end up with a movie theater and hopefully a full-blown hospital campus out there. So things that we really need. And thank you, Mayor, for all your advocacy also. I know that it took a lot of hard work trying to get that 202 and making sure that we get all these amenities that people south of the river need. Thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be a big month for the Levine area with lots of new openings. This week is a solemn week as we mark the 18th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. As we go about our week, I hope each of us can find a moment to reflect on the many freedoms we enjoy and those who we lost in the attack. I'd invite the public to join us in remembrance tomorrow morning in the atrium of City Hall as we reflect on the time that has passed and the sacrifices that were made by so many. And that will be in the atrium of City Hall tomorrow morning. Councilman Nowakowski mentioned the participatory budget process at the city and many calls for additional investments in recreation, accessible recreation. We also heard a lot, including from many advocates who are in the room, about the importance of more library hours. And on Sunday, September 22nd, we will have 4 new libraries open. So I invite everyone to join us as we celebrate additional Sunday hours, which was something that we heard throughout our budget process and we're excited to see moving forward. And with that, we will move to our first agenda item, which also is about our library. So we'd ask our distinguished first panel to come forward. The partnership between our libraries and First Things First has been a wonderful one in making more services available to our community, making it a little bit easier to be a parent and to make sure we invest in that essential early years of a child's development. So I will turn it over to our Assistant City Manager to introduce our panel.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. We are pleased to be here today to provide a partnership update on early childhood literacy with our collaborative partner, First Things First. Joining me at the table are Rita Hamilton and Wendy Resnick with Phoenix Public Library, Jennifer Johnson, Senior Director with First Things First, Tim Valencia, the Youth and Education Office Director, and Marshall Franklin, Human Services Director. They will be speaking regarding the importance of early literacy and interdepartmental partnership between library, human services, and youth and education with First Things First. I will now turn it over to Wendy Resnick to begin today's presentation.
Thank you, Milton. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Allow me to set the stage about how our libraries are playing a critical role in early literacy and child development. Phoenix Public Library includes Burton Bar Central Library plus 16 branch locations. We provide Phoenix residents an essential support system, empowering our communities with free access to trustworthy information. The foundation of our library is to offer books and resources for checkout, but it's important to know that we do far more. We offer more than 1,000 life-changing and engaging services and programs for children, families, and adults every month. More than 12,000 programs attended by 300,000 plus participants yearly. Phoenix Public Library has been a leader in early literacy for more than 20 years. First, the creation of First Things First in 2006 has accelerated and expanded our efforts. The library has been receiving grant funding from First Things First for 10 years, totaling more than $4.7 million. I'd like to introduce Jennifer Johnson to discuss the importance of early literacy and the work of First Things First.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having us here today. And my name is Jennifer Johnson. I'm the Senior Director for Phoenix for First Things First. We are very proud of our accomplishments, especially those as a result of partnerships like this one with the City of Phoenix. Before we share some of our work, it may be helpful to talk a little bit about why it is so important that we support our youngest learners. 90% of a child's brain develops by age 5, even before they start kindergarten. And research shows that a child's experiences in their early years affects how their brain develops. Research has also proven that kids with quality early childhood experiences do better in school. They are more likely to go to college and have successful careers. They also tend to be healthier and demand less from the public welfare system, all important economic indicators for our community. Early literacy and family support are critical areas to address. Within the first 18 months of life, gaps in children's vocabulary can start to appear. By age 4, children's vocabulary, attention, and general knowledge are predictors of 3rd and 4th grade reading comprehension. Exposure to words, language, and books at the earliest ages sets a foundation for the most success in school and in life. Research has also shown that children entering school with strong early literacy skills are more likely to be reading on grade level by 3rd grade and less likely to drop out of school. Our work together to support children and families in Phoenix is vitally important because too many children lack access to the supports that will help them arrive at kindergarten healthy and ready to succeed. There are more than 131,000 children under the age of 6 in the city, and 40% of those children are living in poverty. We also know that most children do not yet have access to high-quality preschool environments. First Things First investments have paid off at statewide and local levels. Last year, First Things First spent more than $30 million getting kids ready for kindergarten within the City of Phoenix boundaries. That's 1 out of every $4 spent in Phoenix from our statewide allocation of more than $120 million for young children. In 2018, in the City of Phoenix alone, we were able to improve the quality of early education for more than 18,000 children. We provided access to quality childcare to 3,100 babies, toddlers, and preschoolers, and we provided more than 35,000 screenings to detect developmental, sensory, and oral health issues that could have become learning challenges later on. As policymakers, you all are well aware of the needs in our Phoenix community as well as the challenges involved in meeting those needs. We can all do more together, and we look forward to the ongoing dialogue as we all work to get kids ready for school and set for life. Wendy and Tim are now going to explain our programs and partnerships in more detail.
Thank you, Jennifer. Phoenix Public Library provides a wide range of early literacy programs. Many of our most successful programs would not have been possible without the support of First Things First, which has allowed us to build a strong core of expertise in the field. Baby Time with Sign, for example, was possible because our grant funds paid for staff training to learn sign language, which has been shown to speed a baby's language development. Kindergarten Boot Camp, our early childhood flagship program, is an interactive 7-week series that gives parents the tools to help prepare for school success. We had our 3,000th child enroll this summer, and almost all of these programs are taught by our First Things First funded staff, so we would not have accomplished that without their support. And now with an additional $50,000 annual contribution from the city's budget increase that was approved by council last year, we are increasing Kindergarten Boot Camp by 30%. Tools for School is another popular program for preschoolers that was developed by our First Things First funded staff. Not only did the staff create the program based on state early learning standards, but they taught it to all the library youth staff, so now it is widely presented throughout Phoenix. And finally, Language Environment Analysis, otherwise known as LENA START, is our newest and most ambitious program. LENA is an interactive 10-week workshop for parents of infants to improve the quantity and quality of parent-child conversations. The workshop uses the groundbreaking LENA system technology to monitor the home language environment, much like a Fitbit for words. There's a little recorder in here, and it is completely private. There's no playback function. The City of Phoenix is the first application of this technology in the state of Arizona. It is an intensive program, and again, our First Things First funded staff take the lead. Our work goes far beyond entertaining children in story time. We are changing the culture around reading and early language development for our families by focusing on parent education. Our goal is to increase the number of children who are prepared for kindergarten, and we are succeeding. Of those surveyed, 98% of boot camp parents report their children had a great start in kindergarten, and 95% agree that boot camp made the difference. We are empowering and training parents as their child's first teacher, and our outcomes have been incredible. With First Things First funding, we deliver almost 3,000 programs and give away 12,000 books each year. That's in addition to the approximately 2,700 story times that the library offers on its own. Now, Tim Valencia of the Youth and Education Office is going to present our unique interdepartmental collaborative and the latest initiative with First Things First.
Thank you, Wendy. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. In 2018, the Human Services Department and the Youth and Education Office partnered with First Things First to create family resource centers in city facilities located in library, housing, and parks department. The centers provide a one-stop shop where parents can learn more about early brain development, participate in classes and workshops to expand their knowledge and confidence, and learn more about other programs that can help support their child's health and learning. These centers are part of our Read on Phoenix School Readiness Framework, which increases coordination with early literacy programs and builds upon existing strategies to positively impact grade level reading in Phoenix. The Youth and Education Office was very excited to launch our first Phoenix Families First Resource Center at Burton Barr Library this past June. Phoenix Families Resource Centers are also located at 3 other City of Phoenix locations. They are located at Cesar Chavez Library, Buff Community Center, and Aeroterra Housing Community. These new centers play a crucial role in the continuum of programs and services reaching children ages 0 to 5, and more importantly, their families. In total, there are 16 First Things First Family Resource Centers within the City of Phoenix boundaries, including these 4 new sites directly operated by the City of Phoenix. In fiscal year 2018, the Phoenix-based resource centers provided more than 22,000 referrals to families for support and services, and over 57,000 times a Phoenix parent attended a workshop or received early childhood resources. We know that these numbers will increase greatly because of our 4 new centers operated by the City of Phoenix. The Family Resource Centers serve as a safe, accessible family community hub and provide flexible, family-focused, and culturally responsive information, resources, and services covering a wide range of topics. Staff were available to help families and offer referrals to programs designed to meet their diverse needs. Our goals are very simple. We want to increase access, we want to improve knowledge, and we want to foster resilience. We want to connect families to community supports to help them now and in the future by embedding these resource centers in locations where families already trust and visit. We are fortunate to have this partnership, and we are looking forward to meeting our annual goals of providing approximately 3,000 referrals and 4,800 program opportunities in our 4 Phoenix Families First Resource Centers. As mentioned, First Things First has been a long-standing partner with Phoenix Public Library. With the addition of the Family Resource Centers, First Things First is now making a combined investment to the Youth and Education Office and the library of approximately $1.2 million annually. If any council member would like to see any of these programs in action, we would be happy to arrange that for you. I will now turn it over to Marshall Franklin from Human Services to conclude our presentation.
Thank you, Tim. I would just like to conclude this presentation by sharing how much the Human Services Department values and appreciates the work that we are doing in partnership with our Office of Youth and Education, as well as with First Things First. As you very well know, what we provide to our babies, if you will, from birth to 5, is so vitally important to their educational foundation, and it really is what we are equipping them with that ensures, if you will, their long-term success. And so we would not be able to do what we do out of our education division without the wonderful partnership that we have with Phoenix Families First Things First. And so we want to continue to thank you, Jennifer, and your team and those at First Things First for all that you're doing. And thank you, Tim, from the Office of Youth and Education. It really is a partnership to do what we do, and it really is, at the end of the day, about ensuring we're creating the right foundation for our children. So with that, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council, we conclude our presentation, and we welcome any questions that you may have of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that excellent presentation. Investments in our youngest residents are investments in Phoenix's future, and we really thank all of you for the collaboration. Thank you to First Things First for being a partner. It's a great decade of accomplishment. Council member, questions or comments?
I'd like to make a comment.
Councilwoman Pastor.
I would just like, First Things First, thanking you for investing in the youth, but really investing in the quality of a program, because it's through our research and our data that it's been demonstrated the quality of what the impact we are having on families' lives, and in particular, young kids, I guess I would say children. As a teacher, knowing the fact that development starts from 0 to 5 and really understanding that an oral storytelling, an oral history of family members speaking to an infant and a baby is very important at that developmental age. But then going on and expanding it and expanding their vocabulary by kindergarten and knowing their colors and their numbers is definitely sets apart a toddler when they enter kindergarten versus not being exposed to all the language skills that are needed. So I really appreciate the fact that we have collaborated and have demonstrated that the importance of it, but continue to push ahead to make not only our city great, but our state great in the workforce that we need. So thank you. And thank you to the departments that manage all these pieces.
Councilwoman.
I just want to say thank you so much for all of your services. Having an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, entering that stage of a parent and being able to have the support of the teachers and having the support of these programs as a working class mom is incredibly important to have that, and it makes our lives a lot easier as moms. So once again, thank you so much for all that you do.
Yeah, a neat perspective that all of us on the council share is we are all parents, and so hopefully we'll continue to make investments in young Phoenicians. Councilman Nowakowski.
Mayor, first of all, I just want to thank everyone for making this possible. I had the experience at Cesar Chavez Library where it was probably about 40 children and parents that were there during the mid-afternoon, and it was a reading day, and it was just incredible to see so many parents involved with their children's lives. And a lot of the parents are new parents, and they're actually asking for help and suggestions, and especially during the summertime, what can we do with our children? And all the programs that our libraries are providing, it's not just a library anymore. I always called it a community center where we have so many different programs and projects. So I just really want to thank you how you all converted our libraries into workforce development, into youth programs, into incubators for small businesses to get ideas and start off. And it's just incredible. If you haven't been in one of our libraries lately, you should come on down, and you'd just be amazed by all the great things that are going on. So thank you for all your hard work, Rita, and your staff, and for everything you guys do out there in the community.
Councilmember Garcia.
So I have the privilege of having an educator at home. My wife was actually started in the libraries and doing story times. I actually proposed to her while I was on a story time. So if I don't say anything and say how much I appreciate it, I'm going to be in trouble at home. But again, just echoing what colleagues are saying, really thankful and excited to continue to support this type of work. I think the entire policy agenda today is of positive things, looking to the future, looking at the youth, and so, like everybody else, thanking you all for your work.
Exciting celebration of our collaboration with First Thing First, and hopefully more to come. Wonderful. Thank you for a great presentation. We will next move to more, from my perspective, good news, the new fine forgiveness program, and our efforts to make sure that libraries are welcoming to everyone and that fines do not deter people from using the great resources. So we'll turn it back to our Assistant City Manager to introduce item 1B.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Now joining us at the table is Deputy Director Martin Whitfield. Both he and Rita are here to share with you some of the impact the library has had on the lives of our residents.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. I am very pleased to be here this afternoon as we share with you highlights of what Phoenix Public Library offers to our community and to make a request that would significantly enhance the level of service we provide to our customers, one that is designed to encourage more use of the library resources and programs you have just heard about. Maricopa County Library District recently became a fine-free library system, and I am here to request your consideration to support Phoenix Public Library eliminating our practice of charging a daily fine on overdue materials. Last year, we served 25 million customers through one of the 17 locations in the library's website. Over 3 million visits were made to one of our libraries. Items were checked out of our collection over 10 million times. And there are just over 1 million registered borrowers with library cards. The mission of the Phoenix Public Library is to ensure that knowledge and technology are available to everyone, not just to those who can afford their own. Lower-income households and communities are less likely to have access to books in the home and have a higher risk of lower literacy skills. Recent studies have shown that those experiencing higher financial uncertainty are disproportionately affected by overdue fines, which often results in borrowing privileges being revoked. The Phoenix Library maintains just over 1 million library customer accounts. Library accounts are blocked when $25 or more is owed, and approximately 10% of our accounts are blocked due to overdue fines. Blocking access to reading material goes against the library's principal goal to make library materials and services more accessible to those that need it most. Here is a breakdown of the number of blocked accounts by location due to overdue fines. As you can see from this list, the libraries located in lower income neighborhoods have the higher percentage of blocked library cards, and areas of higher income have a lower percentage. The difference all fines forgiven can make in a library customer's life is summed up well with this example from Acacia Library, located in Sunny Slope. Staff worked there with a senior gentleman returning overdue books, and he was very worried about paying his overdue fines. He shared with staff that since he lives on a fixed income, he would have to choose between paying $20 to the library or buying groceries for the rest of the month. This is just one example of the customers that this program would help. Industry research indicates there is no impact on the return of library materials by charging fines. In fact, what has been noted is the opposite. Overwhelmingly, library systems that have implemented fine-free programs have seen both an increase in the return of materials and, more importantly, an increase in customers returning to the library when a fine forgiveness program is implemented. The Urban Libraries Council reports 200 public library systems in North America have implemented fine-free programs. The largest urban cities with library systems that have eliminated fines include San Diego, Dallas, San Jose, Austin, San Francisco, Columbus, Denver, Washington, D.C., Nashville, and Portland. Phoenix would be the first of the 5 largest cities to completely waive overdue fines. With council approval, all fines forgiven will eliminate charging overdue fines on items returned late and also forgive all existing overdue fines on library accounts. The library department is working to implement this program in November. And now I will turn it over to Martin Whitfield, Deputy Library Director overseeing our Management Services Division.
Thank you, Rita. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. The Phoenix Public Library will continue to remind customers to return their items and will maintain the current practice of sending 4 notifications of checked out items that are due. Notices will go out 3 days prior to the due date, and then 3, 10, and 28 days after the item is due. Rest assured, the customers will not be allowed to keep materials indefinitely. Phoenix Public Library will continue to expect customers to be responsible for returning borrowed items and will bill the customers for the replacement fees should items not be returned after 50 days. Eliminating overdue fines will have minimal financial impact on the library's $40 million budget. Last fiscal year, the library department received approximately $200,000 in revenue for overdue fines, which is less than 1% of the library's budget. For the past 5 years, revenue from overdue fines has decreased due to the auto-renew of materials and the increased use of electronic materials, which are automatically returned. The Maricopa County Library is providing an increase in revenue share to encourage library systems in Maricopa County to eliminate overdue fines. The county is providing the library department an additional $170,000 annually, which will offset the majority of our revenue from fines. Staff is also anticipating budget savings due to the increase of return materials and possibly less staff time for cash handling. If the All Fines Forgiven program is approved today, the library department will track the following metrics for success over the next year: number of returned materials, value of materials returned, number of blocked or inactive cards that go active, number of new accounts created, and then the total circulation of materials.
With over a century of service, Phoenix Public Library continues to reinvent itself and stay responsive and relevant to our communities. We continue to look for ways to push the boundaries of what a public library can be and deliver responsive customer service. Ensuring that access to our resources is as equitable as possible is the ultimate goal of launching our All Fines Forgiven program. Phoenix Public Library Advisory Board unanimously approved eliminating all overdue fines, and we now request City Council approval to move forward in making Phoenix Public Library a fine-free library system. Thank you, and we're available for questions.
Thank you. Councilmember DeCiccio.
Oh, thank you, Mayor, and I'm fully supportive of what you're doing here. And let me explain too. I mean, when we had the after-school programs, that's something that Phil Gordon and I pushed back in the 90s, and we finally got it to the City of Phoenix. And then we went through the budget crisis, and we saw a $30 increase. And most people would think, well, $30, not that bad for having your kids taken care of and all that after school. But we saw a 62% decrease in the amount of children using the after-school programs. That was huge. I mean, I think that was an eye-opening experience for me, and it was for others too, to see just what $30 would do to have the impact on the amount of children using the facilities that needed it. There wasn't a place for them to go in a lot of cases because they didn't have the ability. So I understand fully. Matter of fact, and before I get into my thoughts too on it, I think we should be reviewing our entire fine program anyways. When we look at it, and I think this is one of the things that the mayor pushed when it came to traffic fines and things like that, because it puts people in a really bad cycle. They're never going to be able to get off. They lose their car, they lose their jobs, and then at the end of the day, it just doesn't work. So I get what's going on here. But I also believe fully that you have to have a level of responsibility. So it looks like you have it in here where they're going to be charged for the material. I like that because they have to be responsible for their actions. Individuals have to be. If you don't have that on that end of it, then you're going to be having nothing but chaos if there's not that level of responsibility. And I see that in here, and I really like it. So from my perspective, Mayor, I don't know who's pushing it up here, but I'm appreciative of it. I assume it was yours, because it is something that I think as a city we should be doing and looking at different models that are out there to address different needs. And the fact that you see these drop-offs of 11% versus 5% is more than double. Then some of those areas losing their library card and their only access to information, possibly, because people that are poor, and I grew up pretty poor, so I know what it's like. We only had one car. If that was ever out, we were done. And my dad couldn't get to work, kind of a thing. So I get it where we need to be doing these things. And we need to be looking and seeing what's out there, because you don't ever want to deprive children of access to information. We're in an information age. And information matters whether or not they're going to be able to be successful in life. And they've got to be able to do that. If they don't do that, then you might as well write it off, because they're already going to be behind. And they're going to be behind significantly if they're not able to retrieve information as quickly as everyone else. But I like the responsibility part in this a lot, because you have to have that in there, otherwise it's going to be a failure. And I appreciate you bringing it forward. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Stark.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think Councilman DeCiccio, you said it all. I mean, I think we need to do this. I think we need to have access for our children. We really need to make sure we're inclusive. When you brought the studies to me that showed that there was actually an increase in return of materials and of customers without the fines, you sold me on this program. I think it's great, and I want to support it. So thank you for everything you've done and the research you brought forth to me.
Councilmember Garcia.
Also really supportive. made my week last week when I heard from you all. I think I shared that with you all. I think I want to push this a little bit further. I think it's, as we're leaving this punitive kind of cycle of fines, I think I mentioned it to you all where we met. I think even rewarding, figuring out a way with some partnerships where if you return a book 10 times in a row when it was due, that we figure out a way to have some sort of rewards program so that we're actually rewarding instead of finding folks. So again, thank you. I think this is great and excited that we're leading the country in this as well. It's great.
It is exciting to be the first of the largest cities to implement a fine-free program that puts Phoenix on a map we want to be on. Councilman Nowakowski.
Well, Mayor, I want to thank Martin and Rita for all your hard work. When you go into the library, sometimes it's the only computer that kids have to use. And when they need the material, they can't go home and look it up on a computer. They need actually the books to take home, to do their homework, to do their reports and all that. And if you look at those double digits, they happen to be in the poorest areas of our city. So I just really want to thank you for coming up with this program, for really caring. Also, I want to give some kudos to our mayor for what she did at the court system. I mean, that's just incredible that we're able to allow a payment program to allow people to get their driver's license back. So a lot of times, Sal mentioned it, a lot of these families only have one vehicle, and that's do or die in your family. If your car is broken, your dad can't get to work, your older brother or sister, and basically they're stuck. And we find that same situation when it comes to library. When the libraries are closed, and thank God we're starting to open them up now, it's the only resources that people have to complete on an even feel. So thank you once again for giving those individuals an even field to play on and giving those resources out there. Thanks.
We have several individuals here to testify on this item. First up, we will have Abraham James, followed by Brenda Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I'm not gonna say very much here, but I am very much in support of this. I am the chair of the Library Advisory Board, and I think this is a very great thing for our city. And I honestly believe that our library system is the best system in the country. So through the support of Rita Hamilton, I hope that you all will support this, because our libraries are great for our community. So, yes, I'm looking forward to this. I'm one who've been checking out books for years and CDs and whatnot. And the big joke among many of the members of the Library Advisory Board is that I am the one who ends up paying all the fines, more so than many others. So. But thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and let's move forward with this. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to the whole board for looking at this and the unanimous recommendation. Brenda will be followed by Sue Soto.
Abraham's taller than me. My name is Brenda Thompson, and I'm also a Phoenix resident. I live very close to the library, actually in walking distance. I'm a friend of the library, and I don't just mean a friend, but I actually have the card. I pay the dues. I carry it in my wallet. I'm also a member of the Library Advisory Board, and most importantly, the director of Arizona Humanities, which is the Arizona affiliate of the National Endowment for the Humanities. I want to say first, thank you for your support, and I want to call you Sal, because I feel like I know you, but Councilman. You touched my heartstrings when you talked about being poor, because I grew up with 6 kids in my family, and we didn't know we were poor. But I will tell you this, we went to the library every week, and we took a little red wagon, because there were 6 of us, and you could take 6 books out each. So my mother was coming home with 36 books, and I tell you, it was a nightmare to return them on Saturday. We had to look everywhere, under couches, sofas, to make sure we had 36 books to bring back so that we would not be charged fines. And I didn't even think of that until you talked about how that's one of the places that you can go when you have a large family. Other things can be cost prohibitive. I wanted to mention specifically something that they've already touched on. which was that these libraries are more than just the libraries that we knew when we were children. I am more than a fan of the Phoenix Burton Bar Library and of the library system. The libraries are like towns in terms of the services they provide. I don't know if all of you have been to the Phoenix Burton Bar Library, or if you have a favorite library. I've had a chance to visit a few of them, and I like the big one, and I like the little ones, the Desert Brooms and the Harmons. They all have a unique spirit, and they are the heart of their communities. Phoenix Burton Bar is, there's nothing like it. There's College Depot and a seed bank and coding classes and toddler programs and author and poets programs and digital books and films and music, and a maker space for kids, which I saw your little kid running around at there, because you can touch things in the library now. You can climb, you can drive, you can do things, and so that is incredibly important for little kids. The one thing that I will say that people have touched on that I think is the most important message is that although the library has something for everyone, library access is not the same for everyone. And what I know, which broke my heart, is that when we go to different libraries to put on programs for kids, sometimes the hop, skip, and jump programs, or even our Ghostly Stories programs, the library partners with us to give out thousands of books so kids can take books home and own them. There are children who will not take books out of the library, and parents who will not take books out of the library. The reason I'm mentioning this is they don't show up in your stats. It's one thing to have a library card and have it blocked because of a fine. It's another thing entirely not to check books out because you're afraid. And we have literally had people say to us that, oh, you know, are you really sure we can have these books? Well, no, we don't want to take them out because we might not be able to bring them back in time. What is the point of a public library that has the most amazing resources on the planet, and then because of economic circumstances, someone be afraid? So I feel like if there's ever a message to underscore, it's the one that you're talking about, which is that everybody can access the services that the library has to offer. And so I say to you, please, please, please support fine forgiveness. I know in my family, it's shaped who I am. Today was great for me. I was a Girl Scout, I was a Brownie, and I know that you talked about at First Things First the impact of shaping children before age 5, but the library has been something that shaped our family for life. And out of all those 6 kids, every single one of them went on to college and graduate school and became professionals, computer engineers, lawyers, teachers, leaders, graphic artists. And I believe that the foundation of our education was the access to public resources. My mom was a teacher, my dad was a security guard. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue is next, and then Jasmine Husseini filled out a card without an agenda item, so if you wish to speak on this item, you will be after Sue.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. My name is Sue Soto, and I am president of the Friends of the Phoenix Public Library. Once again, we all agree, I think, that fines act only as a major deterrent to entering and using the library for adults and children who would otherwise use it but are too embarrassed or fearful. You generously approved additional Sunday hours in this year's budget, so I fully support continuing to increase access and not block it at all locations by implementing this program. Let's keep the doors open and welcoming to all residents in all ways. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jason Peterson filled out a card, available to speak if necessary. Okay. Jasmine.
Sorry, I'm short. Hi, I'm in favor of this for many different reasons. The first being that children in impoverished families and children living with families in poverty actually experience something called the 30 million gap, the 30 million word gap by the time they're in 3rd grade. So eliminating fines completely would eliminate that. And also other economical disadvantages that come with the 30 million word gap. And I mean, libraries have this wonderful reputation of being caring about the community, and that community means everybody in that community, not just people who can pay off those fines. And like everybody else said, fines only help to deter families. I know one of the council members said something about responsibility, and I know libraries have this sense that we are the ones that we're gonna teach people responsibility, and there's many different ways that that can be done that doesn't translate into money and fines. So, and I have so much more to say, but I feel like everybody else said all of it, and I don't want to repeat it. But me and so many other people who could not be here, a huge group of my friends, because this is business hours. I took PTO to come here and be here. But so many people are definitely behind this, and we're so excited and hoping that this gets approved today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your testimony. We have 3 other individuals who are in favor of this agenda item but not wishing to speak. Any additional council member comments? Councilman DeCiccio.
This is when I forgot your name, ma'am. Brenda. Sal, you can call me that. The one thing that Brenda brought up that is fascinating, and it just dawned on me because I had a similar situation happen in my household with our 2 kids, but there is a fear. Those are responsible parents that don't want to check it out. Matter of fact, they're extremely responsible. They're afraid to lose the books. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid that there might be an accident. Not that they would do it, you know what I mean? It's just that that's what it is. They're driven by fear. And I don't know how you overcome that. I had a similar situation happen with my daughter, and just dawned on me. I'm like, oh my gosh, she solved my problem. My one daughter wanted to borrow money from my other daughter, and so I had her pay interest and all that. And she had to make her payments on time. If she didn't make the payments on time, I told her this. I said, you got to make $2 a week. It was $13 that she wanted to borrow. I said, but you got to pay $2 a week. And she goes, what happens if I don't do it on time? I said, well, then your sister Amelia can take it back. She goes, then she owns it, and not you. And so she was so worried about that. It's similar to this, you know, that she was willing to give up a $25 gift card. I go, wait a minute, what are you doing that for? She goes, well, I don't want to pay interest. And I said, well, I get that, but I said, you're afraid you're not going to make the payment. But it relates back to this, is that there is a fear that's going on in those individuals' minds. And I don't know how you get past that. I don't know how you do that. You helped me solve a riddle today of what to do with my kids, but I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, why would she want to pay $25 when her interest payment was $2? It's because of the fear that she might not be able to accomplish and make the payment on time, or in this case, bring the books back. It's something that we may want to think about in the library system, because that is going to be driving a lot of people that are poor. If they can't make a $30 a month payment to pay for extra after-school programs, the odds of them paying for a $15 or $20 book even becomes even more monumental. And those parents will not bring, I mean, I know my mom and dad, they would face the same thing. They would have done it like, we're not bringing this home because what if you did lose it? Then they've got a more fear of their, you know, what could happen to them. It's something we may want to think about as we're moving forward. And that's a hard one to translate. It's cultural, you know, because it's ingrained in people that are hardworking individuals that they cannot afford to lose another $20. You know, I know it sounds like not a lot for some people, but for some people it's make or break. So it's something we ought to be thinking about in that cultural thought of these individuals. They're just literally hardworking people that just are afraid to lose another $20 because that could hurt them financially. I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you for doing that, Brenda.
Thank you. And I want to recognize Maricopa County and the Maricopa County Library District. They have been wonderful partners as we move forward in this area. So we will, I think, be the largest county and largest city in the country to have implemented a fine-free program. With that, Councilmember Garcia.
I don't necessarily want to put more work on you all, but I just figuring out what it would look like to look at the reward program or look at something, and if we could come together and support in whatever ways, so we do kind of transfer that culture of being afraid of turning or going to the library and actually being excited about trying to go take it back.
That's part of the motion then, right? Whatever motion, that you develop a reward program, come back to us on the council in maybe 2 months or something.
Councilmember Garcia, do you have a motion?
I guess I motion, I'll add an amendment to come back with the program. I'm not saying start the reward, but come back with an idea of how we can do it.
And approve staff's recommendation?
Make a motion to approve staff's recommendation with the amendment of looking into a rewards program.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signal aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Yay, Wary.
He loves libraries. So the City Council has unanimously approved being the largest city in the country to go fine-free. We will now move to our final agenda item today, which is an update on the Phoenix 2020 census. It is certainly a big job to conduct a census in the fastest growing city in the country, in the fastest growing county in the country. So we'll turn it over to our Assistant City Manager to introduce the item.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. As you know, the 2020 census is quickly approaching and Phoenix efforts are well underway. Joining me at the table today is Albert Santana, City of Phoenix Census Director, Layla Gamiz, City of Phoenix Census Coordinator, as well as 2 members of our marketing team, Tom Ortega, Principal and Chief Creative Officer of Reister, and Tanya Torres, President and CEO of Torres Multicultural Communications. Together, we're here to provide you with an update on census planning and integration of the regional iCount 2020 and Phoenix campaign strategy in conducting local outreach. And I'll now turn it over to Albert.
Thank you, Deanna, Mayor, members of the City Council. We are excited to provide you all with an update about our Phoenix 2020 census, which includes innovative campaign efforts that aim to build trust with all communities in an effort to maximize participation of everyone living in Phoenix. So first, to begin, why do we conduct a census? Every 10 years, the U.S. Constitution mandates a head count of everyone residing in the nation. And there are several reasons as to why and what those results determine. First, it helps to determine United States congressional representation, as well as responsible for the distribution of over $675 billion of federal government resources. And as we begin to look at those resources at a local level, first, on an annual basis, the statewide impact is $20 billion annually that represents 55 federal programs that help to do amazing things in the state of Arizona. And for us here at the City of Phoenix, the census has an impact of $866 million, which represents approximately $533 per person for the vital social services that we as an organization provide to our residents on a daily basis. In 2020, there are going to be a few things that are unique prior to previous decennials. First, you still will be able to, as a respondent, to be able to participate via the paper form. And this year, for the first time ever, individual households will be able to participate via phone, and for the first time ever as well, via a digital format. And as such, we knew as a city and also in partnership with our regional partners that we needed to develop a website that was easy for on their cell phone. We also wanted to make sure that we were being proactive and having it in a bilingual format, so the website proactively will be able to translate from English to Spanish for those that might need it in a multilingual format. As we began our efforts in guiding and helping to manage our census efforts, we are going to continue our updates with Mayor and City Council, both in meetings such as today, as well as in briefings and working with each one of you in your communities. We also then established a census ad hoc committee, as well as a complete count committee, which represents many residents throughout the city of Phoenix. And at this moment, I would like to give a special thank you to Councilmember Williams, who at the time as mayor helped us to begin the appointments of both the ad hoc committee as well as the complete count committee, and also thanking Councilmember Stark as well as Councilman Garcia for your participation, leadership, and guidance on the ad hoc committee. The input that you all are giving us has been critical in helping us get our campaign started, and we look forward to continue working with you all as well as with the community, with the committee members as we move forward with the campaign. The other important aspect for our campaign as we move forward is establishing partnerships with the community-based organizations. A key part to our campaign, both here at the local level, regional, at the national level, is developing relationships that build trust with the community. And this is just a small sample of organizations that have continued decade over decade to do great work through all communities in the city of Phoenix. And our relationships with these organizations will help us, as they will sometimes be key messengers in helping to get the word out about the importance about the census, as well as the importance to participate as we move closer into 2020. When we began looking at the Phoenix demographics, it quickly, not to anyone's surprise, is that we've got a very diverse, rich population. Our categories of the Latino community and white-only community, African American, Asian, American Indian, really represent the cultural diversity of our city. And as we further began looking at some of the demographics within Phoenix, we wanted to make sure that we paid special attention to our grassroots efforts and how we could most effectively work with communities that have been traditionally underrepresented in prior decennials. So one of those categories was the foreign-born population within the city of Phoenix, which represents approximately 20% of our entire city's population and over 300,000 individuals. We also wanted to make sure that we had really effective communication with neighborhood partnerships and census tract areas that were low to moderate income levels in the household. And as you heard earlier in a presentation earlier today, we have hundreds of thousands of households with children under the age of 5. So we knew that we needed to make sure that all of these categories were a part of our campaign. And recognizing these dynamics, the size of our population, along with our first ever digital census, we knew it was important to execute a campaign that personalized the importance and impact the census has on all of our communities. As such, we looked to partner with marketing professionals that could best help us execute a multicultural campaign for all Phoenicians. Here today to talk about the campaign is Tom Ortega, partner with Reister.
Mayor, members of the City Council, in developing this campaign, we wanted to communicate that all people matter. So it was important to us that the imagery represent the full spectrum of our population. There we go. The umbrella message is I count. In addition to personalizing the message, the I helps communicate that this is the first ever web-empowered census. I'm going to share a few examples of the messages. We know that the imagery needs to feel specific to Phoenix and appropriate to the region as well. And we know that it's best to have real images and real people. And we are currently working toward that. The message you'll see is fairly modular. We begin each statement with I count for, and then we complete it with a specific issue. So in this case, it says I count for my child's education. In this next example, whoop, I think I just went too fast, excuse me. I count for the future of my community. This can be filled in terms of healthcare, in terms of education, in terms of roads. There are many different issues that we can address, and we will do that in specific locations and make it relevant to that specific audience. It's important for us to have strategic partners. We will work with many strategic partners in this effort. Reister engaged with Taurus Multicultural to fulfill some very specific tasks for this project, including recruiting local people to participate in some very highly specialized focus groups. Our research team guided the development of the questions to be asked, created the framework of how the groups would be facilitated, and participated in moderation of most of the groups. The entire process unfolded in collaboration with city staff and with Taurus Multicultural. As the campaign continues, we look forward to working with many Phoenix businesses, which will be critical to implementing a successful campaign. Tanya Torres will walk us through the outcomes in more detail.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. During the month of August, Torres Multicultural Communications conducted a series of focus groups along with our partner, Reister Advertising, to give voice to our city's undercounted and hard-to-count populations. Our purpose is to ensure that the I Count 2020 campaign is inclusive, that it promotes diversity, and that it's equally representative and respectful of different historically undercounted populations in Phoenix. A total of 7 focus groups and workshops were conducted at TMC's multi-purpose facility, Luna Culture Lab, in downtown Phoenix. We spoke to a variety of groups, including Hispanics, Latino, English speakers, members of the LGBT community, which in itself was a very diverse group, African Americans. We also spoke to a group of undocumented Hispanics or Latinos, along with DACA recipients. These 2 groups were conducted in Spanish and moderated by Representative Raquel Terán, who works with TMC on a subcontractor level in the past as a focus group moderator and has been very effective in facilitating conversations in Spanish. We also spoke to refugees and members of the Middle Eastern community. And finally, we spoke to a group of activists and community leaders who represent all of the groups mentioned, including additional leaders in the Native American, Asian, homeless, senior, and disability communities. All in all, TMC recruited close to 200 people for these focus groups throughout Phoenix, and we selected over 80 participants. We wanted to remove any barriers to participation, so we went ahead and provided on-site childcare services for parents free of charge and transportation for those who needed a ride to our facility. In terms of our key findings, overall, we found that participants have basic but limited knowledge of the census. Most were only able to identify the census as a counting of population and demographics occurring every 10 years, but were not able to go into specifics about the census's electoral votes and congressional representation. Trust in the census is low across all of the groups we spoke to. The distrust manifests itself in many ways. In particular, within the Hispanic group, members felt the census data could help individuals identify and harm Hispanics or even enable regular citizens to target violence, such as the El Paso shooting. Other examples of how participants felt targeted included the ICE raids and the debate of the citizenship question included in the 2020 forms. And some participants also brought up the Japanese camps as an example in history of how census data could be used to target them. Contributing to their lack of trust in the census, participants among all groups reported that they have not seen any positive change in their communities, and particularly no changes which could be attributed to census-related funding. As such, this whole notion of receipts came up time and time again during our conversations with focus group participants. Among all groups, participants repeatedly called for documentation of where funds were allocated following the previous census in 2010. Some said this is the only way that they will be able to trust the census, and providing such information will encourage their participation. People also want to be talked about the census by members of their own community. We've had flat-out individuals from the undocumented and DACA groups tell us in Spanish that they will not be opening the door to anyone they don't recognize, hence paying special attention to the messengers of our campaign. That is going to be critical. We also found that the online census may be difficult to complete for historically undercounted populations. While some participants thought an online census would be better than a paper one, many cast doubt on the ability of historically undercounted people to complete it. People either don't have adequate access to the internet or would not trust taking the census online. Stakeholders, so the individuals that were community activists and leaders within their own communities, they shared some observations on how mobile data usage habits in the communities they work with present a barrier to online participation. Many people do not have data plans, or they're using burner phones. If these people did not have data, stakeholders said they would be saving it for issues that are more important and have immediate consequence in their lives rather than filling out the census. So Mayor and members of the City Council, as you can see, we have our work cut out for us. So there were so many different barriers that were mentioned, including fear, distrust, apathy, and transparency. As part of the focus groups, we also had individuals conduct an exercise. We passed out different images around the table and asked them to create their own ads, encouraging members of their own communities to be counted by participating in the census. On the screen, you'll see a few examples of the ads created. You'll see a lot of references to children and kids, so a lot of future-oriented messages as a motivator. We also had a lot of references to community, particularly among Hispanics and the refugees, and references to family. Improving all our lives, and also specific examples on how to document ways that the census have benefited their communities were brought up during these mock ads. We will be taking these findings and using them to develop a community outreach plan that will help address a lot of the concerns brought up by the focus group participants. Before I conclude, I would like to applaud the City of Phoenix for allowing Reister and TMC to conduct these focus groups. In my experience, most clients are hesitant about investing in primary research before the start of a campaign. And I've been pleased to see that the City of Phoenix took the time to actually speak to our city's undercounted and hard to count, and most importantly, to listen to their concerns. The findings gleaned from this research will point us in the right direction and make our Census 2020 communications campaign even stronger. Next, we have Leila Gamis, Phoenix Census Coordinator, who will talk about additional outreach to another undercounted community.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. Building on what Tanya just shared and the campaign goals outlined by Albert and Tom Ortega, I want to take our attention to focus on another demographic that is very highly undercounted, and that is the age group of 0 to 5. In 2010, approximately 10% of Arizona's children were not counted appropriately in the 2010 census. In turn, Phoenix, working with Reister, developed a campaign initiative that we are titling My First Census. The goal of the My First Census campaign is to ensure that the children who were missed in 2010 are counted in 2020, and those that will be counted for the first time in 2020 are accurately accounted for. This effort will give us the opportunity to celebrate our children, building on the momentum that many families share in celebrating their child's first Christmas or their first at-bat. This is the program effort that will help us celebrate those children. This My First Census campaign will include promotional items that will be shared with families, and also a social media platform aspect where individuals will be asked to tag the My First Census hashtag or ICount2020 hashtag. All these images will be aggregated on our social media platform and help project the information out to additional audiences. On the screen, you will see a beautiful family, a family comprised of city employees. In the image are Francisco and Annette. Francisco works with the city water department, and Annette works in the human services department. Together, they have two beautiful daughters, Bella and Emma. Emma is pictured in this image here. And I share their story with you because, like them, we want to bring many other additional stories to the light in Phoenix as we prepare to count. Emma has a rare genetic disorder of only one of 6 people in the world that share this disorder. And her family works continuously with many researchers and benefits incredibly from the many resources both at the city and across the country that help fund research projects to help Emma. And so when I came to them and I said, would you mind coming and sharing your story with us, they immediately were willing and able to come and share their stories so that we can kind of help tell what that My First Census looks like for Emma and future generations. So with us, I have Emma and her family here, so I would just like to recognize them and thank them for their support. And so to share this with all Phoenix residents, we invite to the Phoenix residents to the program launch. We look to hold a campaign launch on October 5th at the Burt Barr Library from 9:30 to 11:30, and we will have photography sessions there so that folks can come out and take pictures of their children and wear similar shirts like the one Emma's wearing with the My First Census. So in addition to the My First Census campaign, the census efforts will be also holding various campaign efforts throughout the city. In September and October, we will be joining events both at the, with the Phoenix Hispanic Network, with Radio Campesina, at the State Fair. Many different elements will be held. Tonight, I want to thank Councilman Garcia for supporting census outreach efforts in a town hall online in partnership with Naleo and Mi Familia Vota. And these are the efforts that we hope to bridge through our national effort that we are looking to highlight in our community outreach vehicles. We are partnering with Cisco and Microsoft. It is the first public-private partnership in the nation related to census, and we are developing vehicles that were retrofitted through the Public Transit Department, Public Works, and businesses that are helping us highlight the importance of the digital census by outfitting these vehicles with technology and also tablets that will be out there informing residents between now and January, and then once the census is ready for live completion, we will provide that bridge to a digital divide by offering people a platform to go complete their census form. You have an early introduction into what those vehicles look like. We will be wrapping these vehicles both in English and Spanish. And so we ask you to join us on Thursday, September 12th, where we will be making this national presentation with our partners, to our media partners as well. So with that, this concludes our presentation, and we thank you for the opportunity to provide you an update with Census 2020 efforts.
Thank you. Thank you for the great presentation, and thank you to the council members who are leading on this issue. We really appreciate your support. Do we have any? We do not yet have any cards from the public. Want to recognize Representative Tehran, who is part of the team and is here with us today. Any council member comments or questions? Council member Garcia.
Do you want to go first?
No, go.
Okay. I want to thank you all. I think one of the things that I really appreciated, the forums, what are they called? The focus groups. I think we got to see a deeper presentation in the committee, and we got to actually see some of the video, so I thought it was really helpful. One of the things that stood out to me and wasn't really brought out today was people wanting to see, as people were saying, it was receipts. It was kind of why would it be good for people to be counted? How does that translate to things that are public infrastructure, things that are happening in their everyday lives? And so I didn't want that to get lost. And also just, again, to Albert and the team, congratulations. I think the way you made the vehicles happen and how they're gonna be able to both give outreach efforts, but also actually be able to have people fill out their census in a safer place, feeling like they're in community, I think is a great idea. So thank you all.
Mayor, Councilman Garcia, thank you for your comments, and we look forward to working with you as we move forward.
Councilwoman Pastor.
I have some comments. I really appreciate the way the package has come about with Census 2020. One of the things that I was hearing a theme throughout this whole presentation was community. And so to me, I looked up the word community as I was listening, and it's a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. So I look at Francisco and Annette and the two daughters, and I look at a picture, and to me that means community. What it also means to me, it's we and we are being counted. An I, to me, is very, especially in cultural communities, we are taught to talk about a we and not an I. So somehow I would like to see a we embedded in the messaging. And it develop as that, as we are representative of a community, a larger collective. It's not just a Hispanic community, but it's a refugee community. It's people of all colors. And so, Tom, you're the messenger, or you knows how to message and do that. So that's what I would like to see, how we can embed it throughout our whole message. The other piece is I spoke to several people on the census complete count. They saw me and cornered me and said, hey, I've been to 3 meetings, and in every one of those meetings, we have asked to diversify the message. And what I mean by diversify the message, it's not about English and Spanish. It's more than English and Spanish and the different cultures that are represented throughout the city and the state. There's 114 languages just spoken in Phoenix Union alone. And so how do we diversify our message and those that are going to be out in the field to be able to look like them, speak like them, and be able then to get the message through? And how I look at that, it's more of trust. Because we heard in the message and we heard in the data that people don't trust right now. People don't trust the government. What are you going to do with this data? Why are you using this data? I don't see the results in my community. And so really, if we really think about why we do census, it's about gathering more representation in our state and gathering another seat for our state. And so that's really hard to communicate to those that are that we're knocking on those doors to trying to count. And how does that come down to them locally? How do you help me in my community? So somehow we have to figure that piece out. I think it's critical because it's going to go fast and furious, and we're going to hit hard, and we know we need every number. So thank you for your work. Really appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to the 2 women for 2 presentations that I know that worked the whole weekend to make sure that these presentations were critical at this table and everybody looked good. So I'm giving a shout out to them because they're the backbone of these 2 initiatives. So thank you.
And Mayor, Councilmember Pastor, definitely appreciate, and those are great comments. We want to make sure that the campaign is diverse as possible. And to your point, at the last Complete Count Committee, we started working with members about how to make that transition from the regional campaign of the I Count 2020, because we all count. And actually, if we were to click to the next slide, we can show that we kind of started to embark on exactly what you just talked about, as how we in Phoenix can talk about because we all count. So your comments come right on point. And so we'll be working hard with the Reister team and with the Tourist Multicultural team about how we in Phoenix can start to modify that campaign. So we look forward to taking your comments and making sure that our campaign is reflective of the diverse community that we have here in Phoenix. So thank you very much for those comments.
Councilman Nowakowski.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's really important that we let people know where the money's coming from, too. I mean, you're talking about $533 a person, right? When you count in the census. Where does that money go? How does it benefit the city of Phoenix? Then I think people start to realize that it helps out our police, our libraries, our parks, and all that. So then they start saying, well, I am getting something back in return. It is important to count. And I think that's one of the things that is missing, I think, out of this presentation is where is the resources, what the resources are going to. And I think then people start realizing, like, wow, I'm bringing $500+ to the city of Phoenix, and a family of 6, blah, blah, you know. So I think that's really important, that they know that they count, and it helps the whole city count also. The other thing, too, is the focus groups. You know, thank you for thinking outside the box and creating the focus groups to understand the needs of different communities within the city of Phoenix. That was very informational, and I think it's going to help us out in the long run. Also, I like how you created the outreach vehicle. I've never heard of that within a census program I've helped out with the last 2 census, and this is the first time I'm ever hearing a city actually coming out with a vehicle that you can go out into the community, especially those needy communities where people are afraid, and actually come and fill out the census right there on the spot. So thank you for that thinking outside the box and that innovative way of counting people. Also, the campaign, My First Census campaign, that's a great idea. Whoever came up with that, thank you so much. I think it's important that we start to install at a young age, you know, those kids that are 10 and under that haven't participated. I think it's important that we get the schools involved, and it becomes every 10 years. It's a part of their life. They know how important it is. And then I think if we can come up with that material, even with kids, how that helps out the education system within this, in the state of Arizona, all that census money coming back. You know, so I think that's what we need to understand is even as a young age, you're $500 to the city of Phoenix, right? And I think that's where we need to educate our people, is that for every person that's counted, you were losing out with over $500 that would come back for all these great programs we have in the city of Phoenix. But once again, thank you. I like the I Count campaign, and I like the focus that you guys are doing. If there's anything I can do, and that private partnership, great idea. I mean, Microsoft, working with them and wrapping that vehicle, great idea. Thanks.
We do have one card from Representative Turan.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. It's so great to see this council here. My name is Raquel Teran. I represent Legislative District 30, which is Central West Phoenix. 80% of my district is in Phoenix and a little bit of Glendale. And I have to say, first and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to be part of these focus groups. I got to moderate the Spanish-speaking groups, one the folks who are documented, and another one that of people who are undocumented. And kudos, and really thank you so much for really digging into what the community is thinking about the census, because I left that afternoon with great concern of the work that we have to do to make sure that everybody gets counted. People, and I know it's already been said, but the fear and the lack of trust in the government was just overwhelming. And but I am confident that we have great leadership in the city council and with places of trust in our communities, such as churches and schools, because that was mentioned. Those are places where people are looking forward to receiving this information and where people might be inclined to come and fill out the census. So again, thank you for your work and for diligently and intentionally figuring out what's going to be working, what works best for our communities. I look forward to working with the city of Phoenix to make sure that everybody gets counted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your help. It is so important that we do the research, make sure we have both the right message and the right messenger. Some people have asked, why are you starting so early? But there is so much work to do, so many people we need to reach. And so I think we have started at the right time. Thank you for putting a great face on this and showing what it really does mean for individual Phoenicians, for our youngest residents. Thank you, Emma, for coming to our council meeting today and inspiring all of us. Do we have any final council member comments? Wonderful. Well, Councilman Nowakowski.
You know, I was just amazed by these numbers. I never knew that we had 707,000 Hispanics, Latinos, and non-Hispanic, Latino whites only, 680,000. I didn't know we were the minority of the city. So incredible, right? These numbers. So hopefully we'll see what the new census numbers come out with too. Thanks.
Councilmember Garcia.
Last thing, I think, just applauding Albert again, I don't think I made it clear, the way you're working with other city departments, I think, is great. I don't know if you have a little bit of time, just how you obtained the vehicles. I don't think people are getting the grasp of what it took to actually make these vehicles happen.
Mayor, Councilman Garcia, first I I want to echo or at least state that the amount of support that our program has had from the beginning with our city manager and getting us started very early, and every city department. Layla and I and Council Member Pastor alluded to it. Layla has been an amazing addition to the team in helping to coordinate so many efforts, and literally every city department has stepped up to the table to help the two of us try to quarterback this from the city manager's office. But an effort like this takes much more than two people. And specific to the idea for the census outreach vehicles, prior to my assignment here, I had several years of doing some great work with a lot of great people in the public transit industry. And so as a part of that, I know that on an annual basis, we look at what vehicles we might be sending to public auction. So Layla and I had a really good meeting with the public transit department, and to make a long story short, we had several vehicles that were scheduled to go out to public auction. And so in working with the department, we got together and made it work where rather than sending them off, we asked if the census team could borrow them for a year. We had 9 vehicles, and we were able to wrap 7 of them. Then we quickly circled back with our IT department. We have a representative here with us today. They were great resources in connecting us with the right individuals at Microsoft and Cisco. In the very first meeting with the private sector partner, they stepped up. Microsoft and Cisco could not be better partners to the city in helping us have a complete count. And then we saved a last meeting, not intentionally, with our risk management and legal team, who helped us make sure that we were doing everything the right way, so that way that the intention would be meant for what it was planned to do. So in essence, to your comments, this is something that is not unique to Phoenix. I've been working here for many years, and when you work on these creative ideas, it takes a lot of departments and a lot of great city staff, and in this case, some help from the private sector to pull together something that has an impact on everyone. So thank you for asking that question, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to highlight the great work that has been done by a lot of great departments and a lot of great people. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again for all that have come together. This is going to be the most accurate census in our city's history, and we appreciate your hard work. With that, today's council meeting is adjourned.